Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Scout Report, and it's time to look ahead to a Wednesday night fixture, which is not ideal. Nobody likes Wednesday night football. But it's Blackpool coming to New York Stadium. We have Tom from the It's Not Orange podcast. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. I'm a bit more jubilant after avoiding a cup upset on the weekend. And it's no disrespect to Rotherham, and it's probably more so for Blackpool's form at the moment, but I'm not exactly looking forward to tomorrow's game for many reasons. But let's hope it's a good game of football.
Yes, absolutely. Let's go back, though, to August or July or August time. Everybody outside of Blackpool was thinking, wow, okay, that's a really, really good summer. Steve Bruce, you had a really good end to the season. We're obviously very close to the playoffs in the end, and the summer felt like a really, really good summer. How quickly did it kind of unravel under Bruce?
Quite quickly, if I'm being honest. Many would probably argue, and rightly so, that he should have gone maybe after the Plymouth defeat, maybe after the Northampton defeat, and some turgid performances at home. So eventually came to head off, obviously, after Wimbledon. But the style of play and the promise, squad versus performances, were literally chalk and cheese. So I'm in agreement with you. I still think we've got one of the best squads in League One. And fingers crossed Everett can get a lot out of that when they come back. But his football was dire. He chose to play 4-4-2 with and not actually playing wingers. He then tried to change the system, played Dale Taylor up front by himself, and then just played long ball to him when he's 4'0". It was just a really frustrating start to the season, and we're still in a position, obviously, of frustration being in the relegation zone.
Yeah, because it seems a bit weird. Because at times last year, obviously the games we played each other weren't particularly good games, but there were times last year where you played some really attacking, exciting football. You were scoring lots of goals, creating loads of chances.
Yeah.
What is it possible for you to kind of put your finger on exactly what changed there? Did he change his kind of style?
I don't think we had an incredible pre-season, despite the videos of them working really hard. I don't think tactically he was very switched on. I thought if he bought a really nice squad, that they would potentially just allow him to work. I think you've got to be much more in depth in terms of analysis there. He just didn't really. It didn't feel like he prepared for the opposition as much. And if you were resilient and organised against us, it was pretty much a guaranteed 3 points. I have great respect for Steve Bruce, but it got to the end where you start to dislike someone, and I didn't want to feel that way towards him. And then he started moaning the fact he wasn't backed in the window, when I think every single club in the this was after, obviously, post him being sacked, saying he wasn't as backed and he didn't get the players that he wanted. But on paper, we had some stunning signings, and some of them still haven't really performed to the levels that we want. And we just lost to Reading 3-0 at home, and they haven't won away for 2007 years. And we basically gave them 3 points, and players like Ihekwe from Sheffield Wednesday have just absolutely dire. So I do think it's a balance of players really not living up to expectation, and a lot of it is to do with his inability just to prepare for the opposition. And I don't think he wasn't committed. I just don't think he cared as much as he should have done, and like he did 20 years ago, when he made an incredible manager.
Yeah, it's always interesting when somebody like a Bruce comes down to League One level, thinks it's maybe a bit easy, and maybe that's what he felt like by the sounds of it. Ian Everett comes in. Put my cards on the table. I'm not an Ian Everett fan. I don't like his demeanour. But I obviously played for you guys, so
yeah,
everybody outside Bolton seemed to hate him before when I was at Bolton. Were you disliking him, or was he a very good player for him? You had that soft spot for him?
Club legend, club captain, with us 10 years or so, 7 or 8 years, I think it was. I should know. I do apologise. But yeah, with us from League One to Premier League captain. I think he had the most blocks in the Premier League. I know we faced a lot of shots and conceded a lot of goals, but he wore his heart on his sleeve, and he would die for 3 points. He would die for the club. And I think the 9 months he's taken out, he really has reflected and became really articulate, much more calm. Although he nearly had a fight with Mark Hughes on Sunday, he certainly takes time to digest situations, and even I was surprised with how articulate and how his horizons, he looks so far into the future about what he wants for this club and what he loves as a manager. He says he loves managing more than playing, I understand the tentative attitude because him at Bolton, amongst the fans, etc., was pretty horrific at points. Swearing at your own fans and walking out on interviews and clubbing after defeats and stuff. I understand all of that, and he was pretty crazy when he played for us too. So I think what we've got to take into consideration is the 9 months he's had out, and how he's probably worked on himself a lot. You've seen the weight he's lost. He looks incredible. He said he's the fittest he's ever been in his life. So player aside, I don't think there would have been a better appointment at the time with what was available, if I'm honest. And you may not like him, but if you look at his history at Bolton, look at his history at Barrow, he's only made every single club significantly better despite them failing in the playoff final.
No, absolutely. I absolutely respect what he's done, 100%. I don't like listening to him, but I completely respect him. And talk to me about kind of the changes made. Obviously, we won the first 3 games, I think it was. Then they went on. Then you obviously went on a winless run before the weekend. Has he made any obvious changes, or is he still kind of working things out? How would you assess the first period?
Promising. I was at Peterborough's first game. It was okay. I think we got them right at the right time. Obviously, Luke Williams came in straight after we defeated them, and a classy goal from Scott Banks wins the game. And you can see the immediate press has changed, the energy has changed, the passion has changed, the organisation has changed. All the basics is getting right. Cardiff played a really high line against us and he utilised that superbly well. Peacock Farrell had the game of his life. Cardiff should have scored 2 or 3. We probably should have scored 8 or 9. I'm not exaggerating. Blocks and missed 4 1-on-1s. We hit the post. And Peacock Farrell made some incredible saves. But the basics is put in really well. I can see what he's trying to do. He's just not got the players thus far to utilise exactly what he wants in his system. Imre is back. Albie Morgan is back. Josh Bowler is back. Dale Taylor should be back after this game. Another striker. He's relied on 2 strikers playing every single minute in training, every single minute in every match he's played so far. So we've been limited, but he's got much more in-depth knowledge and tactics versus what Bruce had. And when he's got those players back, I do genuinely think we will be consistent enough to float around mid-table. But he's brought the basics in really well. He's brought an organised approach really well. You can see what he's trying to do with the ball. He's certainly trying to be a lot more attacking. So we've just got an identity now versus basically not enjoying watching us.
Yeah, another feeling with that from last season, a certain Mr. Evans. From what you're saying there, maybe it sounds like the fact we play you twice in whatever it is, 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks, feels for our side is probably a good thing because you haven't got January, you can maybe bring in some players he really, really wants. And at this stage, you're putting the building blocks in place. So it's not, any of the finished articles. So from a Rotherham perspective, is it probably the best time to play you twice in such a short space of time?
I'm not looking forward to the game for that reason, I suppose. I think it's potentially come just at the wrong time for him to get his full flow into gear. However, we've got some quality returning, so I think we'll give you a much better game than we would give you maybe a week or 2 ago. He'll probably start with a similar 11 to what he did on Sunday. Maybe bring in the likes of Josh Bowler and Imre back straight away. Would I like to think with the players that potentially could start and what could come off the bench, could we win the game? Yes, absolutely. If you stayed resilient and organised and hit us very well on the counter like you have in previous home games, I think we're in for a pretty decent game. But yeah, you're right. I think in 10 games' time, it could look significantly different both on paper and with what he wants out of his team. So you're probably right. I'll be leaning towards rather play us now than if we continue to grow as a team.
Yeah, absolutely. He doesn't have a great record against Ian Evatt. Every time we play against him, we upset him, which is maybe why we don't like him as much, particularly. Talk about some of your players. You mentioned a few. I've got to ask about Hickway. Obviously, he played for us for a long time, left us for Sheffield Wednesday, so he will get a reception on Wednesday night from our fans. Definitely will. You said he's been terrible. Talk to me about, is it just bad? Is there no positive points? Because it was always for us just kind of solid and decent, and obviously that seems to not be the case.
I was expecting a lot more out of him. He was horrific on Saturday against Reading. He can't handle any form of pace. He has showed games where he's been really resilient and organised, and I can see a great defender in there. But I think football's moved on to not just being a solid centre-back, especially when you play a back three. I really don't like the fact we play a back three at home anyway, especially against Reading. What's the point? But that's the way he wants to play with wing-backs. So I'd rather Casey and Horsfall with a left and right back, two incredible defenders. Hickway can't handle pace, and he seems to just head the ball in any direction he seems fit. That's not potentially where it is at the time. So it's not like get it out. It's a head backwards or head sideways. Or if he gets isolated on the wing, he's just not showed any form of I'm going to back off you, then go in at the right time. Like he just tries to pull his man down. And if you watch the Reading goals back, he was catastrophic for the first and the foul for the second to basically lose us the game is not the leader that I expected he was. So I have no doubt he's not a good player. He's just not been incredible for us. He's probably had two very, very good games. The rest have been somewhat questionable. I do have to caveat that is though Horsfall hasn't looked anywhere near the player he was at Stockport. And because Hekway's been dodgy, Casey's always had to make up for it. So I love the bloke. I think he's very articulate. He hasn't been the player that I thought we were going to sign.
Yeah, interesting, very interesting. So he'll get a boo or two tomorrow night. Talk to me, who are some positive players? You know, if Blackpool are to have a good game on Wednesday night, who are the players that are going to probably have to play well for you to get something tomorrow?
I hope Danny Imre starts right wing back. Incredible footballer. Currently on loan from Palace. Had a great season at Bromley last campaign. Really forward thinking, really strong, really intelligent. Just adds another dimension to that position. Josh Bowler, if he starts, sits in the 10, so just in front of the two holding midfielders. If he doesn't play a holding midfield free, which is horrific, and he shouldn't do it, but if he does, then I start to question the way he wants this team to play. But it should be Brown and Honeyman, and then Bowler in that attacking 10. Great player, usually a traditional winger, but he's starting to sort of float in that 10 and set up chances. And finally, Ashley Fletcher, potentially hit and miss in this league, but he's just scored his 10th goal of the season after his double against Carlisle. And it took him quite a while to get going last campaign. So he's pushing on to get 15 to 20 goals this season in all competitions. So if you're going from the back, I say Danny Imre as wing back. Then I say Bowler, hopefully he starts. If not, Scott Banks. I don't know if you watched the Carlisle game, but he's the one who scored the third goal and he cut in from the right. Also scored against Peterborough. I think he's our best attacking player. I think he's absolutely incredible, but he hasn't started many games. So if he starts Banks, if he starts Bowler, if he starts Imre, one of those three. And I just love Fletch. I just think he's not the most incredible footballer, but he gives everything for the team and he always pops up with a goal. So got a selection there. But I'm like I said, we've got the ingredients for a really good side. We just need to make it tick.
Absolutely. I'm sure you've some proper players in there for this level. Some proper players. Let's finish on score prediction if you can. How do you think the game is going to play out on New York Stadium?
We will concede chances. Carlisle should have had 2 or 3. In my opinion, Peacock Farrell made some really good saves. If we can control the game and we can utilise our quality, I do think we can score 2 or 3 goals. I do genuinely believe that, but I also said that against Reading and we looked horrific. So I don't want to be pessimistic and say if I would take a point now. I think we need a good performance and to score, like any team would. But when we're in the relegation zone, I think away from home, if we can show signs of some players coming back and we can get a score draw, because I do think you will, have your chances, especially at home. I'll go with a 2-2, maybe a good game. My hopeful heart says I don't think, and I don't mean disrespectfully, you potentially, if we go 2-0 up as an example, I think we'll have the ability to see the game out. It's just where we've got the quality to do it. I'm not saying you're a poor side by any stretch of imagination. I think this league is wide open this year. I think you've got some really good quality. But my hopeful heart says 2-1 Blackpool, but my head says 2-2.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you very much, Tom. We'll put the links for This Not Orange in the show notes. So anyone wants Blackpool preview or post-match stuff, after check the link out and you'll be able to see everything from Tom and the guys over there. Thank you very much. If you are watching, make sure you've subscribed as we get closer to 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, and give the video a thumbs up. And if you want, give us your score prediction as well. Let us know what you think the score's going to be. We will see everyone next time. Thank you for watching, and as always, up the Millers.